Hey there guys, and welcome to another campaign diary for the Troll Skull Club, our Dungeons & Dragons game that we play. These videos are mostly for myself and my players, but they're fun to do anyway. So, last we left off, our players, our party, the Troll Skull Club, are currently on an adventure in the Underdark. They are trying to find any information about the location of Quick's family, Quick being our Tiefling Sorcerer Cleric. And after a tearful reunion with her wife, the now Warlock of Levistus, Aura, they are in the Underdark city of Emberfell, trying to find out any information about their missing children. Also, another thing that's happening in the city of Emberfell is a revolution that's happening against the Duergar that have taken over the city. Also, in the Underdark, there's a lot of things going on here. Is an auction house in Emberfell, the city that they're in, which is kind of the center of black market trade and commerce within the Underdark and the world above. This is kind of the place to be for any sort of black market trade. So Harvey gets sent, Harvey, our Aarakocra rogue. Wow, I turned to Scooby-Doo there for a second. Our Aarakocra rogue is sent by the Nine Hells to retrieve an item from the auction house, the Wand of Orcus. Orcus being the demon prince of undeath who, well, let's just say demons and the Nine Hells and archdevils don't really like each other that much. So Harvey, having made a deal with the Nine Hells to send 100 souls to them, decides to gather this item for the Nine Hells and is told in payment that they will knock off some of the list, some of the amount that he has to deliver to them. And wow, every time I try to recap this stuff, there's just so much backstory that's added up to everything. But essentially, they get through the auction, they are able to purchase the Wand of Orcus with no problems, and as they are heading out of the auction house, Harvey nabs a key ring from the auction master's belt without him noticing, thanks to a very high stealth and sleight of hand roll. Excuse me. And they head out and are stopped by a barbarian woman, Desdemona, this large, 7-foot-tall, muscular woman with furs covering her, and a Bulezau, a kind of demonic goat man creature. And they're essentially like, hey, you're going to give us this Wand of Orcus, or we're just going to kill you all. And so that's where we picked up, is in the combat. And honestly, combat design has been interesting for this party. This party has a lot of high casters and a lot of high damage dealers. And so it's been fun trying to design combat around them. The Bulezau was able to use a couple of its abilities. It has this this glance, this if you're within 30 feet of it, you have to make a constitution saving throw, or you get like diseases. You get more like not essentially poisoned. It's actually like boils and blisters, and it's really gross. But I was only able to use that a couple of times because our Warlock Aura, who is an NPC and ally, Quick, our Tiefling Sorcerer Cleric's wife, cast Banishment on the Bulezau. The Bulezau does not have a high charisma, especially when I'm rolling, because I always roll horrible when it comes to things like that. So the Bulezau actually gets popped out of the fight, so turns into 5 against 1. Now, Desdemona is a barbarian, Path of the Zealot. She has a lot of hit points, but even then, when you're facing off against, 4 casters and a rogue, it's a little bit difficult. However, there is one feature that did save my butt during this fight, and it's a feature that barbarians have. Desdemona hit 0 hit points, but because of her unending, her relentless rage, I make a Constitution saving throw. And if I make it, I pop back up to 1 hit point. And I literally, no joke, like this was one of the craziest things that's happened in our game, just from a combat perspective, a combat encounter like situation. Maybe not one of the craziest things, but it was just an exciting moment. I made that saving throw about 3 times in a row. It was insane because the DC rises every time you make that saving throw. And I just kept on rolling high for that. And so it was really cool because how I was role playing it is that her rage and her anger, like she is like a statue. She will not move. And so you see like her eyes will just fall from unconsciousness, but her body is still upright. And she's still acting with this, like unknown like energy in this, like, you know, there's no reasoning, like there's no life in her eyes right now, but for some reason she's still fighting. And that was really fun, and she was able to actually make unconscious able to land some decisive blows on our monk cleric Bryn, who was able to get knocked down a couple of times. But we have two, you know, multi-class clerics. They've got no problem getting characters back up, so they were fine about that. That was a really fun combat encounter, though. I also gave Desdemona the Mage Slayer feat, so as Bryn, the monk cleric, gets in close, tries to cast spells, as a reaction, just gets sliced down by Desdemona. So that's really fun, and that's really what I'm trying to... I have a lot of casters in my party, and I just need to plan for that, and plan to not just like, oh, it's an anti-magic field, or oh, they have 50 counter spells, but just interesting ways to combat that. And also I think I need to just create more villains that have better range capabilities that actually do damage. So I've been working up some stuff for some interesting combat encounters to come. After that, our party, victorious in their adventure, decide to head back to the Blushing Spectre, which is the tavern, the rundown tavern that they've been staying at in Emberfell. However, the banishment ends on the Boule Zao, and it pops back into the material, up back into the world. And Harvey, kind of a little bloodthirsty, decides to try to fight it. However, the warlock casts banishment with her last spell slot, and it worked again. So Harvey wasn't able to get that, but Harvey has been driven to murder as many evil creatures as he sees fit, mostly because he has this deal with the Nine Hells, and he really just wants to deliver his number of souls that he has to deliver, and be done with everything, especially because of what happens later on. So they head back into the tavern. They have some discussion about what they're going to do next. They pretty much plan that they're going to try to break into the auction house to see if they can find a ledger, because essentially they have it on pretty good standing that Quick and Auror's children probably went through the auction house at some point, to be sold off into some sort of workforce or something like that. And so if they could find the ledger, they believe that they can figure out the destination, direction where they were sent. Makes sense. However, as Harvey and Quick are having a conversation, Harvey begins to hear her say things that she's not actually saying. This is kind of a fun moment to role play, because Quick, she had this very just caring speech about how she cares about Harvey and how she really just wants to make sure that he's okay. And I told Cameron, who plays Harvey, that's not what you hear. What you hear is that essentially she, blames Harvey's younger brother's death on himself, and that he's, kind of suggests that he's always been a killer. And so Harvey just runs away. He just flies out. And that's kind of where we end the session, actually. That session, at least, with Harvey off, cast away into the night, and Quick kind of confused, but also believing that she hurt his feelings by probably bringing up his brother or whatever. That's been fun to play with, because Harvey made a deal with the Nine Hells. He has a contract branded on his arm, binding him to the Nine Hells. This thing is corrupting him. Bryn, our monk cleric, did a detect good and evil on it, and I said it is just radiating an evil aura. And so that's been fun. And I've also figured out a corruption system, kind of playing with Matthew Mercer's corruption points that he put on DM's Guild. Just this idea of anytime Harvey has a combat encounter and he does not land a decisive killing blow on a creature, he'll make a wisdom saving throw. If he fails that wisdom saving throw, he earns a corruption point. And essentially the corruption points stack and layer, and the DC gets higher depending on how many points he has. Pretty simple. So, wow, yeah, I lost my train of thought. But so that's going to be fun to play with, and actually just the idea of this corruption changing his perception of things, this idea of this corruption, and also just trying to, not get the point across, because the players get it, but the fact that, I don't want it to just be like, oh, you made a deal with the Nine Hells and everything is all cool, just kill 100 evil monsters and you'll be fine. No, this is the Nine Hells they're lawful. Devils are lawful creatures. They're lawful evil though. They're going to use contracts and their deals to fuck with people, to put it plainly, because that's what they do. So that's going to be fun to kind of play with more, and also maybe we'll see if that kind of pushes Harvey to want to get out of this deal, to maybe try and see if there's any way that he can get away from it. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where things go. But we've got an auction house heist coming up. We've got hopefully some information about where Quick and Aura's children are, which I do know where they are. And I know what they're doing at this moment, so that's always fun as a dungeon master. And there is a revolution happening in 5 days. I forgot to mention that the leader, one of the heads of the revolution, made a sending spell and sent it to one of the players. Said like, "Hey, I don't know what you're doing. We don't know if you're assisting or whatever. Like we just want you to know in 5 days we're going to make an attack." And so now there's kind of this ticking clock of, all right, you guys need to find information quickly and find out what you're doing, or else you're going to be in the middle of a civil war, essentially. So that's always exciting. Either way, my name's John. That was this campaign diary for the Troll School Club. Do. Boom. My hands are moving a lot. I don't know.